This meeting is being recorded.
Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whoever you love, we welcome you. Whoever you love, we welcome you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for braving the snow in this early March day. My name is Susan Rogers, and I'll be presenting the service today with Heidi Mayer giving the reflection. Tina Jones and Steve Israel and Ted Goldman are providing technical support and musical support. So please be aware that we do record our service and it will be posted on our YouTube page, but we do stop recording during the joys and concerns. And at the end of the service, after we just extinguish the chalice, then we will have some announcements. So we joined together this morning to seek justice, equality, and fairness in the world. Our hearts are touched by the human need we feel around us, whether far away or within our hands. We come here to be together because this is how we believe our lives are best lived, in questioning and in conversation, in compassion and in service, in gratitude and in joy, in companionship and in love. It is good to be together with you this morning. So I don't know if we have anybody who's new here, but if you are, and if you're on the Zoom call, please note that we are a diverse group with varying interests and beliefs, and our services are varied in format, tone, and topic. We encourage you to attend and view several services to gain a good understanding of our congregation. And if you are new here, please complete the blue card located in the pocket in the back of the chair in front of you and leave it on the front reading table. This way we can reach out to you and say hello. If you'd like to receive our weekly email newsletter, the best way to get it is to contact us at news@mvuuc.org. So please take a moment to think of all your friends at MVUUC and greet them here in person or in a comment on the chat box. Let us support one another. Our chalice will be lit today by Bob Rex. Mr. Rex, there you are. So please join me in the reading of the words for the lighting of the chalice as they appear, and they will appear in the comment box for you on Zoom. If you have fear of some pain or suffering, you should examine whether there is anything you can do about it. If you can, then there's no need to worry about it. If you cannot do anything, then there's also no need to worry.
So for our first music, you guys hear me? I have a lot of computer music going on today. This first music does not really involve the computer, but figured we'll just have it there as a kind of sound check. We're gonna do the hymn, and I think Tina has the lyrics up there. It's 165, but you don't need your books because I'm gonna simplify the melody a little bit. In the interest of us being able to do hymns that we don't all already know, we have to be able to learn some of them all together. And so this one, I have a very simple melody to go along with it that's based on the melody in the book anyway. And since this service is all about coping with fear, this particular hymn has a lot of words like, when clouds are innocent again and hide no storms of deadly rain. It's all about, to me, the fear that you imagine. There's lots of different kinds of fear, but this kind of fear is the fear that you project onto something that's not necessarily really there. So here's the melody. I'll just play it once, and then I'll have you hum along with me and then it repeats for each verse, so it's not too bad. So here's the melody. This melody is in two parts. First part. So listen to me hum it once. Da 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 da. Let's hum that all together. Da 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 da. Okay, second part. Da 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 da. Again, it goes da 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 da. Okay, with me one time. Da 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 da. Okay, let's give the first verse a try. I think we'll get it by the third verse. I'm pretty sure we'll have it all together. When windows that are black and cold are lit anew with fires of gold, when dusk and quiet shall descend, and darkness come once more a friend, when wings pursue their proper flight, and bring not terror but delight, when clouds are innocent again, and hide no storms of deadly rain, and when the sky is swept of wars, and keeps but gentle moon and stars, that peaceful sky, that harmless ring, how sweet the darkness there. Tina, can you go back to the first verse one more time? When windows that are black and cold are lit anew with fires of gold, when dusk and quiet shall descend, and darkness come once more a friend. Oh, let's sing our kids out. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Thank you. Our opening words today are from a book called Your Life is Your Message. And it's by somebody named Ekanath Eswaran. And I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This chapter is called No Longer Ruled by Fear. Through years and years of difficult, sometimes monotonous practice, I have acquired a skill which more than repays the effort I spent. Now, on those occasions when somebody is discourteous to me, which is rare, I find it natural to be more courteous. When somebody is unkind, to be more kind. When somebody is moving away from me, to be more supportive. This is how you establish harmony. There is nobody who does not respond slowly, gradually to this kind of love that tires out its opposition, a love that will not let you go. When we encourage young people to develop such love by doing it ourselves, they respond beautifully. It is the kind of challenge that draws out their highest capabilities. Nevertheless, it goes against the grain of our human conditioning. We are conditioned to always be on guard in case a certain somebody, a kind of thorn in the flesh, might be coming around the next corner. If we see him, we want to be ready to make our escape, duck out through the next door into a dark alley, and disappear into the night. Instead, when you have acquired this extraordinary skill, you are no longer ruled by fear. If you see Mr. Thorne approaching, you may actually decide to go and meet him. He's going to be unpleasant, you say to yourself. What an opportunity. She's going to be discourteous. I can help her by being calm and courteous. When I used to present this in the early 60s, the beatniks of San Francisco, whom I liked very much, they used to say, man, that's all topsy-turvy. No, I used to say, everything is topsy-turvy now. But when you act like this, then the world will be righted.
What do you fear? Is it monsters under the bed? I hope not, unless you're 7. Do you fear public speaking? Do you fear death? I love the quote by Seinfeld who said, more people fear public speaking than death. So at a funeral, you are better off in the casket than giving the eulogy. Fear is essential to our survival. We evolved to feel fear. So it's not something that we can disconnect from. So think about it. Our ancestors had to run from predators. And being human, they were not having a great sense of smell. They didn't have a great sense of hearing, and their leg muscles may not have been as strong. So they had to use their brain to escape. So I like the quote that says, the absence of fear, it's not courage, it's brain damage. So think about that. How much would you hurt yourself if you never had fear? You'd be like, I'm not going to wear my seatbelt and I'm going to drive 90 miles an hour down my street. Fear stops you from being stupid. And you know what fear does to you. Think about that fight or flight response. There's an ancient part of our brain. It's kind of reptilian. And it kind of helps us process this. So it's your amygdala, which processes your emotions. And there's a gland on top of your kidneys. It's called the adrenal gland. It makes norepinephrine and epinephrine. And those hormones are important into that fear response so that your blood pressure goes up and your heart rate increases and you're metabolizing faster so your muscles have the energy to work. And your body shuts down non-essential things like digestion and immune response and growth. But it's not helpful. Think about that fear response and how it's helped you run from predators in your day-to-day lives. It's not. So even your thoughts cause fear. So that panic attack you have when the doctor tells you it's cancer, that fight or flight is not helpful. Or that test that you're worried about. And you're like, oh gosh, I'm not going to do well. And so you have that panic and that fear. And that fear does not increase your performance. It actually is detrimental. And then sometimes you fear what other people think of you. You worry about rejection. You know, humans, we're social animals. We need other people. And it's very fearful to go, oh my gosh, I'm by myself and I'm in a situation I don't know how to handle. So how do we deal with this? And so Thich Nhat Hanh, which I am quoting here in this talk, says we need to look deeply into our fear. And so he suggests that we never need to fear being alone. I mean, that fear of loneliness is real. I mean, we all feel it, no matter how much you're surrounded by people, or if you're even surrounded by people, you still might feel lonely. So Thich Nhat Hanh says, we don't have to fear eating alone or being alone when we're eating. You know, eating I think of as a very social activity. And eating dinner alone, especially if you're in a restaurant, can be intimidating. But Thich Nhat Hanh says, look at your veggies. There's the sun, there's the clouds, there's the rain, all inside of that. Look at all the hard work that someone did to pick those vegetables, to transport them, to package them, to stock them. So there is this connection between you and everything else in the universe, in your community, every time you sit down and you eat those vegetables. So you're really never alone. And also think about all those ancestors that you have. Even the people you've lost that you're close to, those people are always a part of you. So again, you're never alone. So what about the fear of death? We try to forget it. Our culture loves to look younger, be younger, never age, and that's just not true. So we try to forget it and try to push that back, and we don't deal well with it. And we suffer when we don't live in the present. We suffer when we're always worried about the future or looking behind us and saying, oh my gosh, how much longer do I have on this planet? So we suffer when we think about everything we have to leave behind, all the people, all the things, but we try to cling to it. So we try to say, oh my gosh, I want to just cling to everything that I have because I could lose it someday. I could lose my job. I could lose my possessions. I could lose those people around me. And this clinging is futile. It's not helpful. So Buddhism has this concept called impermanence. And so what that says is that we have to let go of everything. There is nothing we can hold on to, which sounds kind of discouraging, but it's true. And it's freedom when we don't have to cling to everything so tightly. And this concept of impermanence is that nothing stays the same. So think about that. This piece of paper you think is going to be here 300 years from now. It's not. What was it 300 years ago? Probably a tree. Nothing is constant. Everything is constantly changing. So we don't need to grasp it. We don't need to grasp ourselves because we can't hang on to our bodies or anything either. And that is hard to let go, but it's something that's important. So Buddhism does not say worry about death. That's not even a question. The question is, how can I live in the present? Because that's the only moment I have. So Thich Nhat Hanh says, we aren't fully present, we're not really living. We're not really there for our loved ones or ourselves. If we're not really there, where are we? We're running, even during our sleep. We're running because we're trying to escape fear. And we don't have to do this running. This fear stops us from being happy in the present. We don't have to have those right conditions, the right job, the right vacation. We're going to have to give up everything anyways, but we forget to live in the present, and that's the moment we have. And we also try to distract ourselves. We don't want this fear, this anger, this pain. So we distract ourselves with things like internet and television, which Thich Nhat Hanh says is toxic. When you turn on the television, you think, oh gosh, it's an hour of entertainment. But often there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of violence, and there's a lot of marketing. If you only had that right shampoo, you too would look better. And it's not relief. We're bringing this fear and this pain and suffering into the depths of our consciousness. So we need to stop consuming these intoxicants that feed our fear. The Buddha said, in every one of us, there's a safe island we can go to. Every time you go home to that island of mindful breathing, you create a space of relaxation, concentration, and insight. If you dwell on that island in yourself with your mindful breathing, you are safe. That is a place where you can take refuge whenever you feel fearful, uncertain, or confused. You don't have to leave the world. You don't have to try to bliss out and make yourself happy. You just go back to yourself as you are. And you don't try to grab onto pleasant sensations. You don't try to cling to pleasant sensations because they pass anyways. And you don't try to Push away negative feelings because those will also pass. There's a little space in between your pain and your fear and your thoughts. We tend to forget that. You just need to recognize that existence of whatever you're feeling, and that's okay, perfectly okay. That's the human condition, to feel what you feel. It's just a feeling, and you're much more than that. So Jack Kornfield says this really nicely. He says, start simply. When fear arises, just notice that and go, that's my fear. And you might notice what it's doing to your body. Your heart's pounding. Your blood pressure is increasing. You feel like running at whatever moment that is. And notice what ideas accompany it. Notice what story it tells you, because that perception is not always right. So that story of, oh my gosh, that's my boss, my heart is pounding, I know this person's going to fire me, is often not correct. So sometimes we have to question our thinking. And then Jack Kornfield says, let it go. So one way, and this is not the only way to deal with fear, this is something Buddhism puts out there, is mindfulness. Breathe through those moments. However you're feeling, just feel it. So sometimes you're sad, sometimes you're depressed, sometimes you're fearful. Allow that. Allow yourself those things, because they're human, and every other human on the planet feels that. So at any moment you're feeling fearful, there are millions of other people around you also feeling fearful, or maybe all over the world. Sit comfortably. Notice your breathing in and out. The first thing you did in this world was breathe in. The last thing you will do in this world is breathe out. Realize that is a precious gift. That breathing is something keeping you alive without effort. You don't think about that until you can't do it well. On inhale, think, I allow everything in the universe to be as it is in this moment. On exhale, think, I surrender all resistance to the universe as it is in this moment. And continue that. You don't have to surrender and allow any moment but the present. And those thoughts that come in like, oh my gosh, what am I going to have for dinner? Don't follow them. Let that go and go, oh, there's my breath again. So you pick up your breath. And every breath is a death to this fleeting moment, and every in-breath is a birth to the new moment. So you constantly are reborn. And so now let's try it. So let's all sit comfortably. I'm going to have Susan mark out 5 minutes for us, and think of something fearful, and breathe in and think, I allow everything as it is in this moment. Breathe out and think, I surrender everything as it is in this moment. And just follow your breath. Okay, now I'm going to invite people to make a few comments about either how you cope with fear, we'll just take the next 5 minutes, or what you felt during that meditation, if you're willing to share. And Susan will pass the microphone around.
Please turn this on so we can hear what people are saying. Who wants to go first? Ford.
Well, I design and build machines, and I've recently taken on some orders. And when I take on an order, building a machine, I get a deposit, and I get drawing approval, and I get some more money in. And they all want delivery in 6 months or 4 months. Frankly, I'm going to be late on delivery, very late. I'm having very difficult time with skilled labor, and I've been plagued with OSHA all of a sudden, and the customers are screaming and yelling at me for delivery. And I could theoretically get sued for a lot of money. Well, that's a fear. Cost me a lot of money with lawyers and all that stuff. But
All right. What are you afraid of, Mike?
I always found that it's very difficult to live in the present. I always found that it's difficult to live in the present. Yeah. That's all I have to say.
Living in the present. Kevin, Whitney, you guys have fears, right? Come on.
Say our fears or say how we cope with fears? How you cope? Well, one of the ways I cope with, I sort of am really, I think when we say fear, we're also including anxiety in that, right? So I say that I generally like to cope with that through exercise, and currently my ability to do that is a bit inhibited, which kind of is not so much fun. But that's one of the ways is exercise, and just doing, paying attention to some of the cognitive distortions that I make, trying to remember that they are not necessarily true, those things that I'm telling myself.
So for me, my son struggles with mental health issues, and this year he would have been a senior, but he dropped out of high school. So I'm terrified as a parent of what he will do and how he'll be able to go forward. But I also know that there's a process in place where he has help, he has support, and I have to remove my own fears from the equation, and try to be in the moment and find the joy every day that I can find. And that's the best way I can help him, is to make sure that I'm strong and that I'm there for him whenever he's ready.
Thank you, Tina. Hi, this is Sandy.
I just started a new job. Now, my basic nature is German Catholic, which means I'm always scared. I'm going to do something wrong because everybody will talk about me, because that's the way I grew up. I moved back here from that home place and started a new job at the newspaper in Wasion. And it was all the old fears came back. Oh, I'm going to screw this up. Oh, I'm going to quote people wrong. Oh, they're going to be mad at me. And I started thinking about all the problems I do have. I'm very ADHD. So focus is like squirrel. In other words, I have a very hard time paying attention. And I just thought about this, going through this, new experience and the crappy computers and the whole deal. They don't spend any money, but that made me mad. I like to be mad. So the thing about, I guess I'm trying to make is when it comes to dealing with fears, if you just kind of face them, this was a new job, and you just kind of think about, well, I do this and I do that. And then I heard your phrase about, decide what you can do about it when you're afraid. And if you can't do anything about it, then, so I worked on my ADHD. I created an atmosphere around myself that it wouldn't be distracted very much. And, quite honestly, I kept progressing and I reminded myself, these people are my teammates that I work with. They're not my enemies. They're not looking for fault. And I got that through my head. And I finally got to the plain old, well, you're ADHD, you're not perfect, you're 71. And I thought, well, guess what? That's just the way I am. And after I admitted that to myself, everything was fine. I'm in a good position. I have a pension. If they don't like what I do, I can get up and go walk away, so that helped. But nobody wants like a fool in front of other people who are reading your words that will never go away. But you know what? I've had such a good life. I've tried so many different things, and I was always scared. And I thought, just for once in my life, I'm stopping this. Because every single time something doesn't go quite the way I thought it was, and I change careers, it's just great too. So why the heck am I scared all the time? It's ridiculous. So this service was really nice. I appreciated it very much. It put into words. I'll stop talking. But when it comes to being fear, you're right. Exercise. My God, get off your ass. Sorry, I'm full of stories. Sorry. I saw this T-shirt once in an exercise gym, and the back of it says, how'd it go? Ask your doctor how getting off your ass will be good for you. And that old commercial about, get off your butt and exercise. Do those things that you need to do. Don't just say, well, I can't do that. Well, yes, you can. You can figure out some form of it. You watch too much TV, get a stretcher band. Do that in front of the TV, anything. Because I think a lot of it is we sit too much, and I'm going to stop. But I just wanted to say, you just got to sit there and face it. What you're scared of, what you can do, what you can't, and then just say, well, that's the way I am, tough. That's who I am.
Great advice. Thanks, Sandy. Anybody else? I'll just add fear of flying. I don't like being in an airplane. As soon as they shut that door, I'm like trapped, but I have to travel for my job. So I have coping mechanisms that I have developed that help me get onto that plane and sit in that seat and get through the flight. And as soon as the plane touches down, the whoosh of relief because I'm where I'm supposed to be, and now we get to get off the plane. But yeah, fear of flying, I know there's a lot of people that don't like airplanes, so.
Is this on? Okay. Mark Twain has a quote that says, "My life had been filled with terrible misfortunes, most of which never happened." So I think facing your fear is a very good thing and not an easy thing to do. So hopefully you can take some living in the present and some mindfulness with you.
So our next music is another iteration of fear. Three different musical forms of fear. The lyrics are kind of opaque in this song, but my reading of them is the perspective of a kid who comes home to find out that his family is moving out of their childhood home, not having really been told. Things are just missing and empty. So the fear of surprise and confusion, that sort of thing. This one is called Hide and Seek, and it's by an artist who does a lot of technology, and well, you'll hear in a second. Where are we? What the hell is going on? The furniture is gone, and all that's left crop circles in the carpet.
sewing machines. All those years, they were here first. Oily marks appear on walls where pleasure moments hung before the takeover, the sweeping insensitivity of this still life. What to say that you only meant well? Well, of course you did. What to say that it's all for the best? Sure it is. What to say that it's just what we need? You decided this. What to say? What did she say? Ransom notes keep falling out your mouth. Mid-sweet talk, newspaper word cutouts. Speak no feeling, no, I don't believe you. You don't care a bit. You don't care a bit.
That was cool. Okay. So the UU Principal Connection, I think that today's reflection reflects both the first principle, which is the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. Naturally, we all have fears, but we should be there for each other to help each other through our fearful situations. And then the fourth principle is a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. To me, the ideas that are put forth by Buddhism are very important to helping people through fearful situations. Just coming to terms with that idea of impermanence has helped me get past the idea of perfection, that I can't ever quite get everything perfect. And that's because everything is constantly changing. And so it's not my fault. It's not because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but it's just the world. So thank you for that, Heidi. That was a very good sermon. Appreciate it. So now we pass our offertory basket. We welcome you to donate cash or via the PayPal link on the QR code in the basket. Please note that what predominantly supports MVUUC are the annual pledges of our members and our friends. So the yellow cards located in the pocket on the back of the chairs are used to indicate this support and can be placed in the offertory basket. We encourage anyone that believes in our mission to consider becoming a member and to pledge support. Please email news@mvuuc.org if you are interested in learning about the benefits of being a member and how to pledge. So now, time for joys, concerns, and milestones. So Tina, if you would stop recording at this time. Okay. We put in a stone for the unspoken joys and concerns that are still in our hearts. And Tina, would you start recording again?
Okay, our last fear music is a song called Paper Bag Writer. It's not Paperback Writer, the famous Beatles song, which is really like upbeat and paperback writer. No, not that one. This is by a group called Radiohead, and the main lyric is blow into this paper bag. So you get the idea of connection to fear here. This is panic attack style fear. But I think there's a sort of element of irony here because the song feels more like a panic attack or it feels like a fear-inducing song rather than a fear-coping song, even though the words are fear-coping lyrics. And for this one, since I don't have a band, I'll just build it up live in layers, so you'll hear the different components of that as I go along. It's pretty weird. The hat's not part of it. I was just cold. Issue. We'll solve it in just a second. Always happens live. Works fine at home and works. So little restart. Fortunately, we are right at the beginning, so that's okay. Let's try that again.
Blow into this paper bag. You're not fooling anybody. Blow into this paper bag. You're not fooling anybody. It was nice while it lasted, but now it's gone. It was nice while it was, but now it's gone. Blow into this paper bag. Stop grinning at everybody. Blow into this paper bag. You're not under attack. Take your armor off. Take your armor off. You're not under attack. Under attack. Take your armor off. Take your armor off. Stop grinning at everybody. Blow into this paper bag. Blow into this paper bag. blow out, blow in, blow out.
Very cool, very cool. So our closing words today is a message from Green Corps, which is a sustainable convenience food manufacturer in the UK. But they had something very good to say, and it's actually a graphic. And the first part of the graphic says, "Stop waiting. Stop waiting to be happy. Sometimes happiness is right in front of you. Shift your focus, and the way you think and your perspective will change. Then train your mind. Get in a joyful state of mind. Every time you feel joy, even if it's just for a fleeting moment, hold on to it and relish it. Stop worrying. Stop worrying about things that you can't control. There is a formula to happiness, and it lies in our thought patterns. What you do, think, and say every day determines how happy you are. Your inner voice has the power to your happiness. Appreciate the small things. We all have those small moments or things that go unappreciated because we think they're insignificant. Make a habit to embrace and celebrate them. Positivity. Surround yourself with optimistic people. Dramatically increase your happiness by increasing your positive influencers. And finally, laugh. Laugh more. Laughing has been shown to reduce stress, enhance immunity, improve blood flow, and strengthen relationships. Let yourself get the giggles. So please join me in the reading of the words for extinguishing the chalice, Bob, that can be found in your order of service or in the Zoom chat. The secret of health for both mind and body is not to mourn the past, worry about the future, or anticipate troubles, but live in the present moment wisely and earnestly. So now is the time for announcements. Does anyone have any announcements? Yes, Lisa?
Hi there. Okay, I have a couple of announcements. In the women's bathroom is a small portable heater because that bathroom is cold. And I noticed yesterday when I came in that it was still plugged in and on, which means it was probably on since last Sunday. So if you are closing up, I just ask, please check the women's bathroom, make sure it's unplugged, and safety first. Also, we don't want to waste electricity. I also wanted to remind people that we are currently facing a little bit of a mouse problem, and we are working on it, but we need your help. What does that mean? That means after service, please make sure that the sugar bowl is put into the refrigerator so the mice can't get it. The creamers, even though the creamers are in that little plastic container, they will go to it, they will chew that plastic container and drink all that cream. So everything basically back into the refrigerator, make sure that mugs are upside down on the tables and things like that. The clean ones, obviously. Just all those things that you want to do, food put away, that kind of thing. We want to make sure that we don't encourage them to enjoy their time here. I also wanted to let everyone know that we are attempting to phase out the paper order of services. We're going to have them up here on the screen for everyone, but we want to make sure that everything is accessible. So if you are having issues with being able to see up here or something like that, let us know. We can make sure to get you a paper one. We just don't want to print 20 of them if we don't need it. If we only need to print 1 or 2, save the trees and ink. And then I have an announcement from our president, Noelle. She wanted me to let everyone know that on April 22nd, they are doing a spring event here at the church. They're going to be, RE is going to be putting together the play set, and they could use another pair of hands. More people, less work, you know how it is. So if you could help with that, that would be great. At the same time, Megan is going to be here, and we're going to be doing garden prep. So if you want to help, if you know, RE stuff isn't your thing and you want to help with the garden, that would be great. Again, we really need hands for that. It's going to be, the exact time is still to be determined, but it's going to be around 10 to 2-ish. And they're going to order pizza, so if nothing else, free food for your labor. If you have any questions, you can email Noel at president@mvuuc.org, and we hope we'll see you there. Thank you. Well, of course, blood drive, April 29th. I could use the help, as always. And if you can't donate and you can't volunteer, you can tell all your family, tell your friends, encourage people to come and donate. It's super important. Thanks.
2 announcements. One, we're trying to try and send out a special email soon, but a reminder, in your newsletter, there is a link to update your contact info under the membership section of the newsletter. We're asking everybody affiliated with the church in any way to fill out that survey. And the second is, I think I had announced a while ago that Amanda Cook would be doing the BGSU Science Cafe. That had to be rescheduled because of illness. It's rescheduled to this Tuesday. So if you're interested, it'd be great to hear Amanda talk about her research, and it's on healthcare, the healthcare industry. So it could be very interesting for those of us who need healthcare. It's on Zoom, and if you just search BGSU Science Cafe, the link to register will come right up. So starts at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday night. Via Zoom. Yep, it's on Zoom.
Oh, you gonna try to sell us some cars?
I appreciate the Unitarian movement, every aspect. However, on the website, and I want to start by saying the sermons that we've received in the last, I don't know, couple months or 2 or 3 months have been outstanding. They've been on how to improve our life and how to live a better life and how to cope with the reality in the complicated world in which we live. These are individual, self-improvement, wonderful sermons. You know, but the movement is taking on Black Lives Matter. You got this global warming thing, CSC, and so forth. I'm a little concerned about it diluting the thrust of our organization. And that's all I have to say. If I would think back in the olden days when I was a member, we
Is this an announcement? Is this an announcement?
No, it's not announced. Yes, it's kind of an announcement because,
This is the time for announcements right now.
well, this is, I make an announcement.
Well, if you'd like to have make an announcement that you'd like to have a discussion about this after service.
I don't have time for being on the board. I don't have time to do much but this is my announcement. Do away with this.
Okay, one last announcement. Next Sunday starts the adult discussion group led by Rick Rogers. It will start at 9:45. It will be in the adult discussion room. It'll end at 10:45, so that'll give you 15 minutes to get ready for the service, get your coffee, say hello to everyone. If you want to get an email with the link to the video that Rick would like you to watch prior to coming to the adult discussion. Please make sure I have your latest email. Some of the emails are old and we need to get them updated, but my email address is in the newsletter, skrogers777@gmail.com. Send that to me and I'll make sure that you're on the list for Rick to communicate with. And after the closing song, which will be now, we invite everybody to stay for coffee. Thanks.
Okay, after a long service on fear, I think a little comfort of a closing song will do us all well. You all know the tune for this one. We've done it once before. It's the Ohio version of Country Road, Take Me Home. So here we go. The lyrics are up there. Oh, I lost my pedal. Hold on. Wandering away. It's the wandering pedal. I'll find it. It's not attached to the floor. It scoots along. Okay, here we go. Northwest Ohio, Black Swamp Freezer, Maumee River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the grassland, growing like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. Northwest Ohio, Black Swamp Mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather round her. Windy lady, farmer's daughter, dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Minty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. Northwest Ohio, Black Swamp Mama, take me home. Country roads, I hear her voice in the morning hour. She calls me the radio. I've lost the lyrics. Driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday, country road, take me home to the place I belong. Northwest Ohio, Black Swamp Mama, take me home.